Okay, Shalom, giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shab, Ba'ashem, Vakar Kodash. My name is Lamadia. I want to give double honors to the elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect that sincerely believe in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shab. So the name of this video is going to be entitled The Spirit of Resentment. Um, Now, before I go into this lesson, I want to pull up the meaning of resentment. So let's start it with looking up the word resentment. Now, resentment, as defined under the AI overview, reads a feeling or feel bitterness or indignation at a circumstance, action, or person. And that's a spirit of a demon, because there's a lot of gods, that was in Israel, and that spirit of resentment began to kick in, and all the sacrifice they made in Israel, and the time they spent, they began to startly doubting or resenting, looking back as if that was a bad decision. A lot of guys get discouraged, and they start thinking about the things that they lost, the things they could had, where or the thing, the way, the circumstance they would have been in today or in the future if they have not made certain decisions. But that's the spirit of resentment, and that spirit of resentment is really the absence of faith. And looking back, being in your feelings, like, oh, this thing was a waste of time. Well, it's not a waste of time, because the thing is, the problem is, a lot of guys, they seem to want instant gratification, and the Lord does not work in instant gratification. The Lord operate in delayed gratification, and I have that on the screen too, and I'm gonna pull it up in a second, because the thing is, a lot of guys, they lose patience, and they want to be rewarded instantly, and that instant, or that desire of instant reward, is going to lead to they fall, their demise. So now let's read Jeremiah excuse me, Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful. Matter of fact, before I read that, let me go back, because I did want to pull up the origin of the word resent. And as you see here, it derived all the way back to the Latin, and it means, for the Latin word senti, which means to feel. And that be the issue. You got men that too deeply in their feelings. And look, just when I said that, I seen this, to feel deeply. And that's the thing. They too deep in their feelings, you know. And this thing is not about feelings. And like the elder apostles always say, a lot of guys don't really know what they're involved with. They don't know what they engage with. They in it, but they don't know why they here. For some guys, this is only just a thing to do. They don't understand why they doing this, because we all was called into this thing with a purpose, and that purpose is for us to obtain mercy from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, And that comes with a price. And that price is us, sacrificing a lot, us losing a lot. There's times you're going to feel alone, times you're going to suffer. But that's all part of this ministry. That's part of what we signed up for. So going back to the Latin word senti, it means to feel. And that's this, and that's how you say to feel in Spanish, to sentir. Now I have similar words, and the one of the word here is grudge, and that's what it is. A lot of guys hold on to grudges. You know, a lot of guys may feel, well, I came in at a young age. And I think we've seen this a couple of times. Certain guys do come in at young, and they start grudging or resenting that, they lost out their youth. So right here, another word, a statement, feel bitter about. And that's all a demon. That's all a demon. Because look, to be honest with you, there's nothing on the other side. And the grass is not green on the other side. And they go back to the world just to receive what? Nothing. It's all an illusion. And that's really what it is. It's an illusion. So now let's read Jeremiah 17 and 9. Excuse me. The heart is deceitful above all things. And what come out the heart? Feelings. And you know what they say about feelings? Feelings are fleeting. You feel mad today. 10 minutes from now, you might feel happy. That's feelings. Feelings is not truth. And that's what Satan used. Satan tap into your emotions and make you feel things to blind you from the truth. Because that Satan aim is to make you fumble the word of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. So Satan will send circumstances where he could get you into an emotional state and start putting things in your head. But that's why we got the scriptures to fight these things. And if you're not into the scriptures, you're not fighting off these thoughts through the word, Satan's going to have you, he's going to have a strong grip on you. And he's going to have a field day in your head. One of the things I learned from the elders and bishops, that I still carry with me to this day is isolation is the devil's playground. Because you got guys that they start going through things and they start to isolate themselves. And through that isolation, that's when, Satan, them demons, begin to have a field day on you. And gradually, you start getting weaker and weaker. Patterns begin to change. And the person don't even notice it. That's why you have to fight. That's why you have to be in the scriptures. That's the only thing that's going to deliver us and get us out of the circumstance is being in the scriptures. That's why scripture is known as a shield and buckler, something that's going to defend us, because that's what the word do to combat demons. So now let's go back. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? That's why women are so wicked, because women are heavily into their feelings. That's what make them wicked. That's why Satan has a strong grip on women, because women are emotional creatures by nature. And as men, the Most High did not engineer us to be emotional creatures. The Most High engineered us to be, logical creatures. to be strong men. Now, Proverbs 14 and 12. There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And that's the thing is you got to filter everything to the scriptures, because some things may sound good to you, but do the scripture support your actions, your decisions? You know, everything must be filtered through the word. So it says, "There is a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death." Because certain actions, if it's not approved by Yahweh Shem Yahushua, it could lead to your destruction. It could lead to your falls. You know, and that's what also feelings feelings will get you into a lot of trouble. So you got to check your feelings at the door. Go on the fast, pray. So I mentioned earlier about instant gratification. So here's the AI overview of instant gratification. Instant gratification is the desire for immediate pleasure or reward. And that's the thing, a lot of guys, they want that instant reward. You know, they want they want to live, they want the kingdom in Babylon. you know, they want they want the glory before Yahweh shall receive his glory. They want the multiple wives now. They want the gold, the riches now. The respect and everything that, now, the big family. They want all of that things now. Ra- Rather than waiting. Excuse me. See, that having things now attitude is what make men lose patience, because that's not how the Lord operate. This instant gratification. And usually things that's instant usually lead to demise. Like, think about it, like um instant food, like fast food. That's something that'll be instant. That food's not good to you. Um Microwavable food or TV dinners, that's definitely not good for you. And they have a lot of carcinogens in the ingredients that usually leads to cancer. So, you know, things that's instant tend to lead to always demise, whereas things that is delayed usually lead to great reward. Like, even when you cooking, you cooking something, like, let's say you making some oxtails, inside joke. The Pastor Ramlock always talk about, because I used to I used to make some oxtails, but the thing is, you make it, you want that thing to be tender, and it may take 2 hours, 2.5 hours of simmering for it, it to get tender. And that's for anything you cook something, you want the meat to fall off the bone, but that comes with patience. Whereas you try to cook something, let's say a steak, in 10 minutes, it's gonna taste like rubber. The texture is gonna be hard. Whereas if you let it sit for a little while, it becomes tender. So delay usually comes with great reward. Um, Now, this is delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is the ability to resist an immediate and smaller reward to gain a larger, more valuable one later. And a, a, a good account is with Moses. Give me 1 second. Bear with me. Let me pull this up. Since I said that. And let me put up another scripture. I want to get it now so I don't forget. So I just want to have it on the screen. So bear with me. Okay, all right. I don't know if okay, I read delayed gratification. I don't know if it was sharing this tab or not, but I'm gonna read it again. Delayed gratification is the ability to resist immediate, smaller reward to gain a larger, more valuable one later, requiring self-control and patience. Look at that. Um, the scripture said, "Your patience possess ye your souls." Now I'm gonna read that again. Requiring self-control and patience for better long-term outcomes like success. And this is delayed gratification. And example or account that I mentioned is the account with Moses. You know, Moses could have enjoyed, you know, the riches of the Egyptians, but Moses chose rather to suffer. And I got it right here. Um, okay. All right, let me read it. Hebrews 11 and 24. By faith, Moses, when he was come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer afflictions. So Moses chose to suffer affliction with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a moment, because Moses understood that um, Egypt would eventually be destroyed. So he rather, excuse me, he rather choose delayed gratification rather than instant gratification. So I read that again. Than to enjoy the pleasure of sin for a season. Now let me read this. This is Luke. No, not Luke. Proverbs 18 and 12. Before destruction, the heart of man is haughty. To mean to be proud, high-minded, overly confident. So before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, and before honor is humility. So before we even receive any type of honor, we first must undergo humility. That's why we suffer. That's why we undergoing a lot of loss. We losing a lot. You know, things are being taken away for us. But whatever the Lord take away, just know the Most High is going to replace with something better, as long as you believe and continue. And look, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, because the misconception is you're going to catch hell, and then you know, these things that's is going to get presented to you, it's just going to be bouncing off of you like bullets hitting Superman. No, it's going to hurt. You know, the Lord's going to get you where it hurts, because a lot of people say, A lot of people, a lot of people don't understand this. Your faith is not shown when things are going well. Your faith is shown when things are taken away from you and things are not going so well. Because anybody could say they have faith when everything is going well. You got your wife at home. She's feminine. She's doing everything you ask her to do. Your kids doing good in school. You got a good paying job. Anybody could say they have strong faith. But let these things be taken away from you. Will you keep your frame? Your children die. Your wife leave you. You lose your job. Will you keep your frame? That's when your faith is shown. And a good account is the book of Job. Job suffered, and we also gonna suffer. So now let's go to Luke 14 and 27. And another thing, Yahushua most of all suffered. So Luke 14 and 27. And whatsoever, and whosoever do not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. And bearing the cross is catching hell. Yahushua suffered, we also going to suffer. Verse 28. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Now, myself, I'm in the construction business, and within the construction business, you have a budget. Before a project is started, they start with a budget. You have the budget set for the labor that goes into the project. Then you have the budget that goes into the manpower, the trades. These are the things you look into. You got a spending budget, and within that spending budget, you have to account where you have enough to complete the project. So that goes for us. The project we doing is the work of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And the things we taking account of is the things we gonna lose. All while serving Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. The possibility of things that may, fall upon your lap. These are the things you have to think about. Like, what if this happened to you? What if that happened to you? Will your faith still be strong? What would you do if this stuff happened? You got to take account of all this stuff. Like, understand what you're really involved with. Verse 29. Less happily, excuse me, less happily, after he had laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, and the foundation is who? Yahushua. Because we building the temple right now. Because we symbolize, the elect symbolize the temple. And it said it's not able to finish it. All that behold begin to mock him. And that's the God that started teaching, laid a foundation, start teaching about Yahushua. Yahushua's gonna return, and the chariots, America gonna be destroyed. He was teaching that he was Israelites, and then he falls out. He stopped building. Now it says everyone's gonna mock him, and it usually starts with that person's family. Oh, wasn't this the guy saying the world's gonna end? Look at him now. Now he's back smoking cigarettes. He was getting on us about eating pork, and look at him. So they're gonna start mocking him. And then also we look at certain guys that fell out, like this guy was saying all of this. This guy was cursing out the 2/3 and saying how the Most High is going to destroy the 2/3. But all along, he's a member of the 2/3. So now everything he said about the 2/3 now applies to him. So verse 30, saying this man began to build and was not able to finish. So let me go to 2 Corinthians 13. Let me see where we at with time. So 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Now, what it means to examine yourself, you have to do a full assessment on yourself. Things that needs improvement. Things that may possibly hinder your faith. You got to ask yourself, you got to put yourself in different scenarios and ask, if this would happen to me, where would my faith be? What if I found out tomorrow that I got stage 4 cancer? Will my faith get weak? What if your kids die in front of you? Just you got to constantly put yourself in scenarios, because you got to think about it. What we possess is the world's greatest knowledge, and that's the word of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. And Satan's gonna do anything, he's gonna do everything within his ability to try to make you fumble your faith. So he's gonna play hard. So you got to think about these things, all the different possibilities that could, all these different circumstances that could fall upon you. And pray to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua that none of these things will make you lose your frame and lose your faith. So I read it again. Examine yourselves, meaning to do a full assessment, because you have to do quality control within yourself. Things that you see that could be worked on. Whether ye be in the faith, prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves? How that Yahushua is in you, except ye be reprobate. And a reprobate is a reject, a mind void of judgment. Now, a reprobate is the guy that he doing all these things that at one point he taught that if a person do it, will be destroyed and be judged. But now he's doing it and not taking into account that he's going to receive judgment. So that's a reprobate. Verse 6, but I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates. Matthew, bear with me. Let me get some tissue. All right. Matthew 24 and 42. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord do come. And how are we watching? We're looking for current events, and we filtering it through prophecy, through the scriptures. And that's how we measure the time. Verse 43. But know this, that if the good men of the house have known in what watch the thief will come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Hold up, give me 1 second. All right. He would have watched and will not, have not suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, verse 45. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom is the Lord had made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. So yeah, I read it again. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. And that's going into the doing the work. You know, we have to do the work. You know, that's how we show our faithfulness to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. You know, I did a video entitled "There's a Difference Between Finding Time and Making Time." And finding time is when a person try to squeeze something in their schedule they feel that's less important. Whereas making time is when a person prioritizes something and fit it within their schedule. And that comes with elimination of things um, that's less of a priority. So you have to do the work. Verse 47. Rarely I say unto you that he should make him ruler over all his goods. But and if that evil servant should say in his heart, my Lord delay his cometh, and that's a God that's started to resent. You know, that's the guy with the demon of resentment. You start to doubt. And it says, but and if that evil servant should say in his heart, my Lord delay his coming, and how does that sound? That's a person like, man, we're gonna be here for another year or another year. I thought the end was gonna come 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That's a person that's saying, the Lord delay his coming. To the point they start thinking it's not gonna happen. Verse 49, and should begin to smite his fellow servants. And how do you smite his fellow servant? You start doing nigga shit. You start being verbally abusive towards brothers, and talking crazy out of his mouth. Like I seen guys that when I came in, it was over you. So you kind of had to listen to what they had to say. Or they told you to do something, you had to do it. And you knew too at times, like, all right, this guy, he's taking his personal frustration out on brothers. And I'll be straight. Like one guy, I'll just say his name. You had the dude, brothers know, Makawana. This guy was an emotional wreck. He will come and take his personal frustration out on brothers, and you just had to take it. Because, when I first came in, I was a kid, I was 18, 19, I was a teenager coming into this. So I ain't know anything about the world and life and anything experience, but that's an example of that. And dude will come angry every Saturday. Lord forbid you said shalom to that guy. The guy will curse you out. One time he said a few times to me and other brothers and different occasions, yo, don't walk up on me like that. And you were like, damn, nigga, like the fuck? Guys would be tripping. You happy to see this brother, and you go to him, say shalom, you get cursed out. But all along, that's this guy, getting discouraged. So it says, and should begin to smite his fellow servants and to eat and drink with the drunkards. The Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, in an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder and appoint him his portion of the with the hypocrites. That's what the 2/3. The same guy I'm speaking about. This dude, this images of him smoking cigarettes. And I remember being in the camp, and guys will come to. That's when we was on 34th Street and Broadway. Guys will come too close to the camp. Because Broadway, so 34th Street always be busy. So you have people that will walk by, sometimes staying close to the camp, smoking cigarettes, and he will lose it. And he will act real disgusted about it. Now he's smoking cigarettes. Go to show you, this guy, he got demons on him. The Lord rejected him. He is now a reprobate. So it says, and shall cut him asunder and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. Then should be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And that's going to happen when the nuclear destruction comes. Matthew 19:27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What should we have therefore? And you got to imagine, the passion Peter said that in. He probably had tears in his eyes. And, he was passionate about it. And this is what Yahushua said to him. And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And the regeneration is talking about in reincarnation, because they thought the end was back then, but we in the end right now. I mean, the end started 2,000 years ago, but we in the generation where we're going to see the second coming of Yahushua. So verse 29. And everyone that have forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or fathers, or mothers, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life. And look, Scripture said Job received double of the things he lost, right? And he had great substance, but Scripture said we're gonna receive 100-fold. So it's gonna be more than you can even imagine. You think you losing? Now we're gonna invest. We're gonna increase, because everything the loss that we're receiving right now is only an investment, and we're gonna receive 100-fold plus of everything we lost. And we're going to, Scripture say, inherit everlasting life, meaning we're going to be immortals. All right. Verse 30. But many that are first should be last, and the last should be first. So I'm going to close it with Matthew 11, beginning at 1. Let me pull it up. Matthew 11:1. And it came to pass, when Yahushua had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. Now, when John had heard in the prison the works of Yahushua, he sent 2 of his disciples and said unto him, Art thou he that should come, or do we look for another? And I'm going to say this: John the Baptist didn't fall out the truth. And that got to be said, because you got Captain Tazariot and the ISUPK saying that John fell out the truth. Verse 4. Yahushua answered and said unto them, Go and show John again those things which ye do hear and see. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. The leopards are cleansed, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them. Here's the point, verse 6. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. So you got to keep on. And you're going to have guys that going to feel offended, and they're going to go back. They're going to go back into the world. But they're going to go back into the world for their own destruction. you know. So you just got to keep pushing, keep pushing. Matter of fact, let me see something. Let me go to First Corinthians, um, 10. And okay, First Corinthians 10 and 13. They have no temptation taking you, but such as is common to men. So you think you're going through something, just know that it's a demon, and that demon is tempting you. And just know that same demon already tempted other brothers, bishop, apostles. They face the same challenges. Read it on. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able. So whatever you go through, just know the Most High already gave you the strength to go through it. And it might be challenging, but the Most High is not going to put something on you that you're not able to deal with. So it's just something that's challenging. You just got to keep fighting, keep pushing. Now it says, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. So that's the point. So in closing, stay strong. Um, we almost out of here. And I'm gonna say Kohalayim Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Ba'Shem Bakar Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.